On July 4th, 2006, a future star walked down the ramp for the very first time on live WWE television to cut a promo. And 11 years later, we consider this former superstar to be one of the most entertaining superstars in WWE history. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to talk about former WWE champion and current UFC fighter CM Punk. This is What Went Wrong. It's no secret that CM Punk was very successful while working for Vince McMahon. Although Punk worked for Ring of Honor and TNA prior to WWE, Punk really became a main staple in the wrestling world while working for Vince. The often outspoken superstar showcased incredible skills inside the ring and on the microphone. There was a lot to love about CM Punk, and there was a lot to dislike. Now, ultimately, as a fan, I want to say that I was a very big fan of CM Punk. His work by far was some of the best I have seen in a very long time. He truly took the WWE by storm. He made things look believable, and he showed that he was the real deal. In fact, he brought some sort of edginess and rawness that we haven't seen in such a long time, and that made us believe some of the things that CM Punk was talking about on the microphone was truly how he felt. We saw the passion. Now here's the problem. Many people will discuss CM Punk's legendary world title reign, but more people will actually talk about the drama that surrounds CM Punk in WWE. You see, when Punk left the WWE, he made it known that he had a negative experience. He bashed the upper management, he bashed the medical staff, and all of the terrible backstage politics. Now we gotta fast forward a couple years later. CM Punk holds a 0-1 record in the UFC thanks to a quick loss to MMA up-and-comer Mickey Gall. Now, I actually bought this UFC pay-per-view rooting for Punk. I realized that Punk is someone who does things for the challenge and not the money. And I was able to assume this because, well, we all know how much money would be involved with Punk returning to the WWE. But he has yet to return. Punk recently noted in an interview he actually has no interest in returning to pro wrestling. And he's currently awaiting a response from Dana White just to see if he could even compete again in a UFC octagon. Now, to me, the most likely answer is no, but when you're CM Punk and you try something new, I think he's going to keep grinding. So why did so many things actually go wrong with CM Punk? Well, let's talk about the fact that he burned his bridges. CM Punk was very outspoken. He did not like the fact that he had high-profile matches that weren't main eventing WrestleMania. He also didn't like the fact that other people were getting paid more than him when he was having higher profile matches. And let's discuss the whole thing going on with Ryback. It's very clear that CM Punk and Ryback had a lot of issues, and a lot of that had to do with Ryback working stiff. So, why did he burn his bridges? He feels the need to let people know what really happened. And he did it all. He did it on Colt Cabana's podcast. And the minute that CM Punk did this, it almost made it impossible for WWE to ever sign CM Punk again. Now, in the wrestling business, people say never. And although it's very possible that CM Punk one day could potentially return in pro wrestling, as I said earlier, he has no interest. It makes you wonder, is he going to stick with MMA? Is Dana White going to give him the opportunity to fight again? These are things that really pop up in everybody's mind, and on top of that, if the answer is in fact no, does CM Punk return to pro wrestling in the future? Well, I don't want to say no. I don't want to say never, because like they say, never say never. But ultimately, we have to be honest, and we have to accept the fact that this guy does not have a passion for pro wrestling anymore. So will he accept that phone call from Vince McMahon or Triple H? Will he walk down the WWE ramp one more time? When you lose in the way that you did to Mickey Gall, it's just not that impressive. And you may not be ready for the big leagues, but it's very easy to hate on a person when they're going down. And we should accept the fact that CM Punk tried something so new and so different. And although he failed, I think it's easy to say that this guy has heart. And that's why he should return to pro wrestling. Vince McMahon has done some crazy things when it comes to bringing people back. Hulk Hogan has come back. We've seen Sting return or make his debut to WWE. And we even saw Ultimate Warrior return. Now even Kurt Angle's back. So it makes you think if some of these guys can talk negatively about the WWE, at some point CM Punk should be welcomed back. Vince McMahon is an incredible business person. And I know that we've seen some crazy moments with CM Punk after the fact of his WWE career. But I think ultimately CM Punk belongs in a WWE ring. And we will see him back one day. It wouldn't be GFW, Lucha Underground. If CM Punk does leave the UFC, what went wrong could eventually become right. And that's a return to the WWE.